Welcome to the CHCH Newsmakers podcast. I'm your host, Rick Zamperin. We're getting ready for the countdown to 2026, the fourth annual live New Year's Eve special on CHCH featuring iconic Canadian rock band Sloan and Big Wreck. The 2.5-hour-long show begins at 10 p.m. Eastern on CHCH, and it will be filmed in front of a live studio audience. You can also stream it at chch.com, Parrot TV, and YouTube. The countdown to 2026 is again hosted by award-winning media personality George Stroumboulopoulos, who joins us now on Newsmakers. George, how are you?
Good to see you, man. How are you?
Good to see you. You
2.5 hours? That's longer than last year.
What are you going to do?
I guess I knew that, but I forgot that. That's going to be a long night.
It's you, it's Sloan, it's Big Wreck, a host of others.
Yeah.
What better way to ring in the new year?
I think it's great. I think 2025 was a strange year for a lot of Canadians if you think about how it started. But what I've liked about it is a lot of people have doubled down on the Canadian thing. And for me, Sloan and Big Wreck were staples on the radio and on Much Music for so long, and really still are. So it's really exciting to be able to do it with all those hits. People don't really remember just how many hits those two bands have. You're going to know every song they play, and I'm very excited about that.
Live studio audience as well. How cool is that?
It's the best. I mean, if we're not in the same room together, what are we doing? And everybody has switched to this video conference call life that we do, and I see the value in it. But if we're not in the same room, becoming a one group of people, what is the I don't want to do that. I did a live studio audience for a long time, and even back at Much Music, it was you didn't have a live studio audience all the time, but you were broadcasting on the street, so there were people there all the time, and I think that really matters. So getting people just to be in the same room, listening to Sloan play those songs, Big Wreck, come on, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, like music is the international language, right? Everyone can vibe to it. Having people, jamming to those songs, you in the house celebrating.
Was it the Nietzsche quote? Life without music would be a mistake.
Yeah,
I really believe that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I really believe that.
I think that there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah. And I think that it's an opportunity to just let loose. And I think permission to be excited is important. It would be great, dude, if people didn't need that permission. But I think some people, as we get older, we get a little tied up in our lives and our choices and the choices made for us and how hard it is. Like 2025 is a pressure cooker. December is a pressure cooker. You look at what's coming around the corner. You got grocery bills that look like ransom notes, mortgage resetting like landmines. Like, it's a scary time for a lot of people. And just for a moment to take the pressure off. That's why I like doing this show. We did it last year for the first time. Like, I did it last year for the first time here at, with this project. And I just liked how fun and chill and easygoing it is, and just great tunes. Yeah,
and a good way to turn the page on, and you referenced it, a chaotic, uncertain year in terms of the political climate, the economy. It's a great way to, for 2.5 hours, just kind of let that, be in the background and vibe with the music.
Yeah, TV shows and music don't fix the problems in the world, but they give you a moment to either reduce the pressure so you can reset, or just make you feel a little less alone. And that's always been what I've aimed to do in my career, and it's certainly what we try to do on New Year's Eve.
Sloan and Big Wreck, a nice slice of Canadiana. When you think of those two iconic bands, what comes to mind?
Well, dude, for years, when I hosted that talk show on CBC, our theme song was The Good and Everyone from Sloan. So every time I hear that song, I think, it's like, oh, God, I got to be on TV again. Yeah. So it's going to be weird to do that. I remember in the late 90s, Big Wreck played one of their very first shows in Toronto when they had that first record that came out. And they were opening for Creed, and they played at a band called Lee's Palace in Toronto, 400 people. Wow. And I was at that show. And then later shortly thereafter, I saw Big Wreck play a show. It might have been around Christmas at the legendary Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto. And I remember Ian Thornley doing a solo Simple Man, Leonard Skinner cover. And you just watched this guy and you thought, he's better than people realize. Ian and Big Wreck are really special. And so I remember seeing that one of the very first shows when that record came out in Toronto. My radio station I worked at, The Edge, had been the promoter of it. And it was incredible to watch. So I have these memories of the beginning of the Big Wreck story in Toronto.
That's pretty cool.
And Sloan, of course, just for years, just watching Sloan play in Toronto is amazing.
2026 is almost here. Can you believe it's 2026?
It's
almost.
Insane. It's insane.
Where's the time gone?
It is, luckily, time is a construct, so it's always here.
Yes,
right?
That's true. It's not going away.
It's not going away. I think I think there's an awful lot to be grateful for. I think there's an awful lot to be angry about.
Sure.
I think there's an awful lot to be motivated and hope for change. Hope's not a plan, as you know. I think in a lot of situations, it's going to get better. In a lot of situations, it's going to get worse and more challenging. But no one's asking anybody to change the world by themselves. You don't have to do that. Sometimes people feel that pressure. We're raised to believe, oh, we have to make a mark. You don't. You just got to do your part. And I think that 2026, I would hope that people can lean on each other in their own ways. And I don't want to sound like a hippie, but I know that I know that there's value in just not feeling alone. And I think that I bring a lot of gratitude into every year, and not in some yoga mom in Tulum kind of way.
Right, yes.
No shade.
Yeah.
But I just think that there's an awful lot to be grateful for, and an awful lot to fight for. And I think that fight is a purpose in life, and we do it in our own little ways. Sometimes it's big statements on social media, and sometimes it's just coming together in a room and closing out one year and bringing in a new year with some great bands.
Yeah, I always say, like, togetherness brings happiness, especially with when you're with the people that you love and you get along with, or just have a common vision or a goal. Right?
I don't know what your childhood was like, but I grew up in an immigrant family, in a neighborhood filled with immigrant families, and so I have these memories of the uncle coming home and handing his paycheck to not just his partner, but to the family. Yeah. And so when you grow up in that kind of immigrant experience, you just have a very different relationship with other people, and so and your neighborhood. So to me, the answer is for 2026 is where the answer has always been. It's with your people. It's with your people, and the table should be bigger with more seats on it, so everybody else is welcome at that table. But that's how it's always been. So I didn't grow up with some weird view of Canada like, oh my God, it's the greatest. I don't believe in that. Right. I grew up where I just watched hardworking people slug it out, just trying to make rent, but have fun, crack a drink, make some good meals, eat together, play music. My uncle playing Gordon Lightfoot songs or John Prine songs on guitar, Neil Diamond songs, and listening to records. And so the answer to me has always been where it has always been, with your people. Yeah.
Is that what being Canadian means to you, and has that changed over the years?
My relationship with this country is the same as it's always been. The only difference for me is I feel a greater sense of responsibility as an adult to make it better for everybody else. Like, I think there's two ways of looking at this world. I know it's a little bit more nuanced, but ultimately my litmus test is simple, which is you either think this experience is about you and yours, or you think this experience is about everybody else. And I'm in the everybody else camp. So it's my responsibility to make this country what I want it to be. And I think national anthems and flags are not representatives just of who we were, but they're a promise, a thing to aim for. Yeah. And I like that version of it. So my relationship with Canada is that. But again, growing up as an ethnic in the west side of Toronto, we don't have the same experience that you saw on television. We don't have the same experience that you see represented in much of the conversation around identity and other things that happen in the world right now in Canada. So when you grew up ethnic in that era, 70s, 80s, it's a very different experience. And so my relationship with Canada will always be that. I'll always be the son of immigrants. I'll always be like most of the kids in my junior high school, which is the same as my high school. Most of us were the first person in our family born in Canada. Right. Most of us were I went
first to go to college.
Yeah, I went to Humber College. My mom, when I was in high school, my mom went back to college to become a nurse. Nice. A nurse's assistant, when they used to call that an RNA. So my mom went to Humber College before I did. So the two of us basically overlapped. She was finishing college just as I was entering community college for radio. Yeah, but we were very, but my mother never taught me as a kid to rely on anything. She said, if you want the country or your city to be anything, it's your job to do that.
Make that difference.
Yeah, it's your job. So it's not just government, it's not just business, it's also people. So all three of us together move a country forward. And that's what I believe.
I had no idea. And you were born in Malton. I was
born in Toronto, but lived in Jane Wilson, Rexdale, Chalk Farm, then Malton. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We have almost the same kind of lineage in terms of.
Are you a Malton kid?
Born in Toronto, grew up in Malton, then we moved to Brampton, went to St. Gabriel's.
Come on, you went to Gabe's?
Yes.
Amazing. I went to Our Lady of the Airways, which is it was the most Catholic name school ever. And then we had to shift to a place called Malton Public because some kids, Malton was an interesting neighborhood.
Yeah.
Grade 4 is burned our school down. So we shifted and went to...
Should I ask?
Yeah. So we went to this place called Malton Public, which is an abandoned public school, which is now a gigantic Sikh temple. So, and it's funny that every time I drive by, I'm like, oh my God, I went to school there after our school got burned down by grade 4s, which is kind of funny. Yeah, Malton's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I'm nothing without that neighborhood.
And it's you call this your cultural center.
My spiritual home. Was my actual home was Malton. So much of who I have become is because of the neighborhood, Rexdale and Malton. It's why I believe in diversity. It's why I believe in a warm, open arms culture. I also believe in individualism, like don't be prescriptive about what a culture should be, because in my neighborhood, the Italians were different than the Indians or Pakistanis, and they were different than the Haitians, and they were different than the Jamaicans, who were different than the Trinis. And so you held on to your thing, different than the Ukrainians and the Polish, and so the Maltese were, often got lumped in with the Italians, and they were not happy about that.
Yes.
So
that.
I grew up where you did too, where we grew up where everybody had a thing that you were connected to through your family lineage.
Yeah.
And I loved that. So assimilation didn't mean your cultural assimilation. You held on to that. It's just how you all work together. My old man worked down the road here, and my grandfather at the Ford plant.
Okay.
Not too far from here, installing seats in cars. And they're friends. Indians, Pakistanis, Jamaicans, white guys, and white isn't a race, but all the different Scottish, Irish guys. So you started to look down the line, and everybody was just class, right? It was just where you were in the class structure, know. And so that neighborhood is that is my DNA is so connected to that.
Back to New Year's Eve. Do you remember your first New Year's Eve? In terms of just, hey, I'm awake at midnight. Yeah,
well, I don't know if I remember, but I remember my grandmother, my uncle, my mother, my sister, and I, and my aunt, we would go down occasionally to Nathan Phillips Square.
Nice.
I think the Scatolites were playing like a reggae band. It was so cold. Yeah. So I have these memories of being down with the family at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto. And again, super, super diverse, super interesting. It was a real reflection of the kind of stuff we saw on local TV at the time, in Toronto. And I loved those New Year's Eve shows. But it's funny, I'd never hosted one in my career. I'd hosted for radio stations. I'd hosted New Year's Eve parties. I hosted a DJ tonight with my DJ partner called Shawarma when we were up in St. Catharines. But I'd never hosted a TV New Year's Eve show. And then I was in New York a couple of years ago watching it. And there was nothing on in Canada that I could see except for the CHCH one that my buddy Rick was hosting.
Wow.
And then he couldn't do it the next year, and they reached out to me and I went, I've never done that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I just thought I would do it once because it would be tick the box.
Right.
But I had such a great time.
Back for more.
Yeah, and I love the bands and I love the people who make it. So the producers. So I was just like, let's. And plus it's CHCH. So I grew up watching House of Frightenstein. So I have a lot of emotional connection to these two ones, right? The 11. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's pretty cool. Well, we're happy to have you back and hosting this show, and we're going to look forward to a lot of the fun that we're going to have on December 31st. Back to music.
Yes.
Canadian music right now is fill in the blank.
Vibrant.
Okay, I like that.
Vibrant. So many great artists. Jacqueline Tucci just put out a record that I listened to a ton. There's a band called Housewife, a woman called Bridget. She's so great. East Side, you get into the Oshawa, Pickering, that area, Ajax area. There's a guy called Chastity. Unbelievable artist, legendary band from this neck of the woods. Jersey just released their record finally. It's available on streaming, been around for a long time. Alexis on Fire and I just released their House of Strombo performance on vinyl and on VHS. So you have legacy bands that are killing it. You have brand new artists that are killing it. It's a really, really vibrant time. And I love the fact that the whole industry is in tumult, because this is where that one kid writes that one song that kind of breaks through. And I'm really thrilled for Aaron Paris put out a record a year and a half ago. It's so great. There's just a lot of really cool stuff going on right now.
What I like about Canadian music too, and this has been the case for years, that it is so different.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have one kind of thing. Like, we're known in so many different genres.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
We've always been great at the solo woman. Like, we've always done, if you think about the Celine, Shania, Katie, Avril, Alanis, Nelly, like we have a long history of filling up that pipeline. Yeah. We did a really good job in the pop world. If you think about Bieber and Nickelback, you think about Bublé, who's the great. Bublé's what a king. And And then, hip hop, we're the country of Cardinal and Rascals and Chaos, really, Michi Me, like really great artists, Choclair and Socrates, there's really great artists, Rumble. And then, of course, Drake comes out and blows the world away, and then Weeknd comes out and blows the world away. So now we're nailing all these genres. But in metal, a band called Cryptopsy, Spectral Wounds, out of Montreal, a band called Anonymous. So in every genre, Voivod, we have chucked out incredible artists. And I think as a result, you never had to... the Drakeification of Canadian music, for sure, like labels have never been particularly interesting, so major, so they're just looking to replace that thing.
Yeah.
But no one can beat Drake. Right, Drake was just that's the Beatles level,
massive,
of size and volume. But we've never had to fill one genre because this is the country of Blue Rodeo. Yeah. This is the country of the hip and Miranda Mulholland, and this is the country of all these incredible artists out there. Julian Taylor, great artists you can find all over the place. You still go to the Rex in downtown Toronto. There's still great jazz bands playing, or Grossman's is still rocking out players. This is the country of Big Sugar. Yeah. So we just have so many great artists that just feel like ours. Devin Cuddy's band is so great. Jim's Son. It's like, just we always have them.
It's a cornucopia of music and,
they don't have
and
to
talent.
Be, as you said, they don't have to be one thing. Like they don't have to be one thing. And in the early 90s and I guess really into the mid 2000s, the punk bands that were coming out of St. Catharines and Hamilton and Burlington and Toronto, the downtown street oi punks, we just have this is also the country of Oscar Peterson and Glenn Gould.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, you pick a genre, and I've left out a million artists.
Yeah.
And every country has their version of it, but I think only the Irish have outkicked the coverage, maybe more than us, right? The Irish are, every country in the world should just look at the Irish artists and go, you figured it out. Scottish are pretty good too, but the Irish have really, that's next up. But in terms of growing up next to behemoths of nations and empires, and carving your own voice, holy smokes, what Canada has contributed to the conversation. Yeah, there's a great band from Wales, Common Wales, called Stereophonics many years ago. And they used to tour as Mother Hip Bone, and they were one of the bands that won all the Brit Awards, like great records. And they used to travel around Europe covering Mother Love Bone songs and Tragically Hip songs. And everybody would say, "God, that's a great song. New Orleans is sinking. When did you write that?" And they go, "It's not us. It's a Canadian band."
Yeah.
They just loved the Tragically Hip.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, we have traveled.
When you're chilling at home and you want to put on some tunes, what do you normally go to?
I'm a bad example, dude. I listen to the soundtrack to my descent into hell. I listen to a lot of...
Who's the artist on that title track?
Oh, I listen to a lot of Slayer.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of... I listen probably to Slayer.
So you're rage cleaning at this point? Like what's going on?
No, that's how I chill. I go to bed. Okay. I'll put on Slayer and go just lay in bed and just relax. I listen to a lot of Slayer for sure. A lot of really heavy stuff. A band called Venom, a band called Mayhem. I like that a lot. It's very easy listening for me. Mm-hmm. But I listen to a band called Massive Attack a ton. I still think Massive Attack, especially because I'm so interested and engaged in what's happening in the world politically, socially, economically. A band like Massive Attack is a perfect band for easy dance beats, cool scapes, and then some hellish politics, which I believe in.
Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of Massive Attack. I tend to chill listening to John Prine. I tend to chill listening to the Tragically Hip. The hip thing is weird for me though, because I'm still pretty emotional about the loss of Gord.
Right.
So when I hear some hip songs, I just decide...
You get sentimental, right?
Well, not sentimental, I get sad. And I was just like, I don't think I want to cry right now. So,
right, okay.
So I don't even turn it on. I'll just I'm not going to listen to this. Every time I put on Grace too, I'm like, I do not have this in me today.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. But I love the hip. I love Sloan.
Yeah.
I really love Sloan. The other stuff that I do, I'm in my old lady British detective series years though. Okay. So I watch a lot of BritBox and Acorn. Like I watch a lot of, if I can just find like some 62-year-old
whodunit,
disheveled detective. She kind of sucks as a human being, but she's good at solving crimes. Right. I will sit down. I will air pop some popcorn. I will watch that stuff.
So you want a 2020 version of Angela Lansbury, who's not a very good person, but solves crimes.
Yeah, Vera. Like I watch Vera and I just think, God, she sucks, but I'm in. You know, or Death in Paradise or whatever dumbass stuff I watch because I like the writing. I think the language they use the language in a really beautiful way. Yeah. But no, music is obviously a huge part of my life. I listen to a lot of punk. So I listen to a band called Crass. I listen to Clash. I don't do those, those year-end playlist things. I don't really do them because I listen to a lot of records. So, for example, in my home in Toronto all week, I've listened to one album over and over and over again. And it was a concert in 1971 at the Fillmore, The Mothers of Invention. It's a Frank Zappa show. Wow. So I've been listening because I love what Zappa has to say. It's also just absolute mental derangement in terms of the sounds and the feelings. So I listen to Zappa a lot, but I listen to a lot of vinyl. Yeah. And yesterday, for the first time in ages, I have this yellow tape, the first Bare Naked Ladies demo. Okay. And I put that on the tape deck, and I heard just to hear the warm, rich sound of cassette again. So I've got Haunting the Chapel, my first Slayer tape. I have that. Nice. Metallica, Ride the Lightning, my first Metallica tape when I was like 10 years old when I bought these. Still have them, and I play them. And so I like, for me, music now is not so much a digital experience. I do listen to streaming for sure. I do a show on Apple Music for years and years. Yeah. But I also, at home, it's a lot of vinyl. Yeah. It's a lot, because I want to spend, what I found was I became with music like everybody. You put a song on, you skip, you listen to a song, it shuffles on. And it became a little too transactional, my relationship with music. Right. And I thought, oh God, that's not why I'm in love with this stuff. Yeah. So by putting on records, I have a lot of records, I have to have an experience with it. Right. I know that's not how most people are, but I'm not most people. So, and I don't want to live in that space. So I will put an album on and I will listen to that side over and over, because I want to have that relationship with it again, where I can pick up every nuance. A lot of Pink Floyd. I still listen to a lot of Pink Floyd, like a lot of Pink Floyd.
Records have like boldness to them. Not only the experience, but the sound quality. And so when you're putting these records on the turntable, are you starting like right at the start?
Yeah, always. I don't want to be provocative.
Go ahead.
This chase for fidelity is a fool's game of playing along. It's like the same people who are pushing AI to make sure you lose your job. It's like this, what is the crisper, better sound? It's not about that. It has never been about that. It has always been about the mood and the energy for me. Yeah. The crispest sound is when we let the nerds win. What are you doing letting the nerds win? Right. It's never been. I think about how different I am because I listened to a Misfits tape. I was like 13 or 14. This girl gave me a Misfits tape. Her name was Sarah, and completely changed my life. But if you listen to that recording, you can barely. I mean, I'm wearing my Misfits socks right now. Actually, funny enough,
I love it.
Can you get my socks? Glenn Danzig's vocals were super muddy and kind of in the back of a room, and it was like one mic at the front of the room. So my relationship with the band was not about the technical part. Like, the technical part is not what's interesting. Right. The real art to me is, can you capture energy? Yeah. If you're the best professional player, well, that's what AI can do. Yeah. AI can make the best sounding thing. That's not what I want. Yeah. I want the human experience. I want the effort. I want the desperation. I want the feel. So I don't play the high fidelity game. I think it's cool, by the way, when you're watching movies, multiple sounds, because that's a different experience. It's a different medium, as you know. I think movies are the perfect medium. But for music, I don't need it to sound like 4,000 engineers and 20 million plugins made it sound like I'm standing right beside them. I stand right beside them because if it's loud and my ears are ringing, like any concert, I don't need it to sound crystal clear. Exactly. I need it to sound like alive. And so that's why I listen to a lot of vinyl still, and cassettes.
I think one of the best sounds when it comes to record playing, the crackle between tracks. It's like, oh my God, I can just listen to that.
It's the best.
It's amazing.
It's what makes everything sound different. The crackle is never the same on two pieces of vinyl. Yeah. It's always different. And I think that our, not to get political, but I think that our chase for perfection is some garbage that I don't know when they started feeding it to us, but it has never been interesting to me. It has never been interesting, this idea. I'm interested in execution. I'm interested in, I remember talking to The Edge from U2 about this. He said, I have this sound in my head, and and he's talked about this in lots of interviews. I have the sound in my head, and I'm trying to get the thing that I hear in here out here. That's why U2 are U2. It is that effort. Great songs, but you wouldn't get those songs if that struggle wasn't real. Right. And so I need it to feel and sound different, and I refuse to play along with this game that everything has to be, oh my God, now we have 19K and whatever this. And I love spatial audio. I've listened to great records in spatial audio, bands like Pink Floyd remastered in spatial audio. That's great, like the hi-fi record player used to get. Yeah. But it has to feel alive. If I feel like it's just coding that did it, meh.
Yeah.
I want it on tape, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably had a lot of cassettes as a kid too, right? I'd play those cassettes until the dust fell off, till the magnets died on that tape. Yeah. And then you can hear the sound of the song dying. Yeah. It's incredible. Just before that Maxell snapped, you know?
Yeah, it's like, it's such a great cassette.
Yeah, it's like that Bryan Adams song, right? I played, that you bought that 6-string, I played until my fingers bled.
Summer 69.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to hear it. I want to hear the blood on the strings. I want you to push air. Yeah. I don't really care about the other stuff that comes along with it, because again, that's the Revenge of the Nerds, man. And and there's no soul there. It's just like, I think engineering is important, and I understand that sales is important, but this world has been overrun by engineers and salespeople, and everything is about engineering and sales, and I get it. However, that can't be what this is all about. And they have so much conversation about, it's like through the prism of morality and technical wizardry, when it's about ethics. That's the human experience, is our relationship with each other, with ethical debate. And to me, music has to serve that too. Film should serve, not all. Like sometimes you put on a Def Leppard song and you go, kills. Yeah. Put on Pyromania, kills. That tape still kills, right? There's no real cultural value except it's a great song. Right?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
But how they made it was real.
Strombo and Apple Music.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Great. 5 years now. 5 years. Yeah, I can't believe it. Yeah. Long time. Over 1,000 shows, lots of specials, lots of interviews. It's been quite a run.
Has there been an interview that you didn't think was going to go great, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, this guy, this lady was kind of cool?
Not that I didn't think it would go great, but I remember being, just talking to Keith Richards.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Keith has this habit of, laughing with those like well-worn lungs, that laugh, laugh wheeze that he does. Yeah. You ask him a question, he laughs it, and I remember asking him a question, and his answer was, he did the laugh thing that he does, and mate. And then I was like, nah, it's not good enough. So I pushed harder, and I got this thing out of him that I was really grateful to have that experience, and I was really grateful that Keith opened up a bit. Springsteen too. I mean, I'd never talked to Bruce before, so at Apple I got to talk to Bruce and Keith, which is pretty dope. Yeah. I mean, I wear the people who made this skull ring that I've been wearing for years are the same people that made Keith Richards' skull ring. So a lot of us wear skull rings because of Keith.
Yeah, they have an aura to them, right? Like
Rolling Stones, bro.
Yeah,
it's Rolling Stones. Like, I get it that the Beatles are the biggest,
right,
and the best. Zeppelin are my favorite.
Okay.
I mean, but the Stones, man. And when you see, I saw the Stones a couple of years ago play after Charlie passed. Steve Jordan was on drums. I've seen the Stones 15 times in my life live. I've never seen them better. Who at 80?
It's crazy.
You have like CEOs of companies at 80 that are wrecking the world for sure. We see them in this Instagram entrepreneur culture that we have. But at 80, to see Keith and Mick, and I don't know how old Ron Wood is, and Ron Wood has got his own realities, but Ron Wood those three guys look like they love this. And I think I, like a lot of people, maybe in my 30s or 40s might have taken the Stones for granted.
Okay, yeah.
Because you hear all the songs, and I don't need to hear Start Me Up Ever Again. I don't need that. I've heard it enough. But holy smokes, when you start to go back and listen to those early covers, the blues records, the Stones, man. Like, I've always been a Stones guy over the Beatles guy. I recognize the Beatles are a more complete band. Right. Yeah. But as far as a rock and roll band, geez.
Pretty legendary.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Rolling Stones.
They're coming out with a new album, I understand.
And the last song they put out, I loved. It reminded me a little bit of the Memo from Turner era I'm a Stones guy, right? And I'm a Keith guy. My favorite Stones song is Happy, that Keith sang, and also, everything off Let It Bleed. But yeah, they got new music. It just sounds bluesy. It sounds cool. They know exactly what they're doing. Yeah. Nice. The Stones and Zeppelin and Floyd,
That's your top three. If you're on a desert island.
No, if I'm on a desert island, if you can only bring one catalog, you bring Pink Floyd because Pink Floyd can do everything.
Okay.
So I think Pink Floyd has songs like Run Like Hell, there's no band that can do all the things that Pink Floyd can do.
Yeah.
And achieve. Zeppelin and the Clash are my two favorite bands. U2 as well. But if you only get one catalog on a desert island and you're not taking Beethoven, you're taking Pink Floyd.
Okay, I like that. Montreal Canadiens. You're a big Montreal Canadiens fan. Have been so for years. How did this fandom begin?
Terrible loss last night. Dumb loss.
It happens from time to time.
Sure.
Listen,
you're far more forgiving than I am.
I'm a Leafs fan. You're not going to go 82-0. Number one.
No, but here's the one thing that I don't respect is effort, a lack of.
Right.
You can look at a team and just go, meh. Intensity, urgency is the only thing that matters if you're a professional. Is urgency. If you are in control of your own career or life. If you play without urgency, I don't do a single thing in my professional life without urgency. It makes it exhausting to be around me. But this is the price of admission.
Right.
Urgency. And because these are urgent times, and urgent times require urgent measures. So, and sports is the one place where I get to be irrationally angry about things. I try not to live in anger.
Yeah.
Not great in this
I'm in
world.
the same club.
It's hard. It's hard.
Totally.
I open up social media and I just want to smash my phone. I want to get one of those phones. I actually did end up getting a flip phone, and I use it as a second number.
Right.
I'm slowly trying to wean myself because I hate social media.
Is this so you can slam it shut, or?
Well, yeah, no, so I have no access to it. Because it's making me worse. I'm too old. I'm too old to be this angry from people who I think suck anyway. No, so the Habs. Yeah. My grandfather was a Leafs fan.
Okay.
My papa, the guy I'm named after, George Yorgos. And my dad was a Habs fan, but he split when I was a kid, so I wasn't raised with him.
Okay.
My uncle Paul was a Bruins fan. So, the man who my mother's married to now is a Red Wings fan.
Oh my gosh.
These are the three. I didn't need a dad because I had three great male role models in my life: Lon, my uncle Paul, and my grandfather George, my papus. All three original six fans. No Montreal Canadiens fan. I became a Habs fan because in my family we didn't get together on Saturday nights to cheer with each other. We got together to cheer against each other.
Okay.
So we're all very cantankerous group of lovely immigrants. So we like to fight. And also at the time, honestly, growing up as an Eastern European immigrant too, in part, half, or the son of, the Harold Ballard, who owned the Leafs, was pretty racist. And the Leafs had that whole pedophilia ring in the dressing room, which we had heard about when we were kids. And so we just grew up thinking that the Leafs were just a really bad organization.
Yes, and they were.
Yeah. And the Montreal Canadiens were a classier organization towards Eastern Europeans. Yeah. And so it just felt like, and those great rivalry with the Soviets, the Red Army team. So I think I grew up wanting more out of my life, and the Montreal Canadiens represented more. They felt like more. Now they have sucked so much. In my lifetime, I think the Habs have won 9 cups, but I only really remember 3.
Right.
I remember the last one in the 70s. I remember 86 and, of course, 93.
Yeah.
But we're on the rise. I'm very excited about this.
You're a lucky guy because the Leafs have never been to the Cup in my lifetime. So
they haven't been to the Cup Finals since 67, right?
67.
But you had that amazing 2 Final Fours in a row.
Yes. Which was very exciting.
Really
the
exciting.
Doug Gilmour years, the transition to Matt Sundin.
Yeah, Pat Quinn, what a really powerful group of players that was. You know what it was? There was a. This is what I find really interesting about Leaf fans, and I know a lot of Leaf fans more than I know any other team, is you guys don't like your team. Like, you don't like the players.
We like to tear it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how could you like the players? Like the energy and the vibe. It's the wrong. The reason why part of the reason the Raptors were so successful when they made that run to the chip, Kyle was our guy.
Right.
Kyle was our guy. Spicy P was our guy.
Right.
For the Canadians, Nick Suzuki, he's our guy. And Lane Now is our guy. But Cole, there's so many. I think you guys don't like your players very much, and there's a lot of good reasons not to. It's not that it's not about winning. It's about the personality.
Right.
I remember when I think I was doing Hockey Night in Canada. Was I doing Hockey Night in Canada at the time? Remember that run where Phaneuf and Kessel and all of a sudden the Leaf players decided they weren't going to go out and raise their sticks to the fans?
Yep.
And I remember thinking, you guys will never win. You'll never win if you think it's the fans' fault.
Yeah.
You'll never win.
Or the media's fault, right?
Or the media's fault, yeah. I will say this as a guy who worked in sports for a long time, not just hockey, but earlier in my career. The one thing that I think fans need to do better is they got to stop being so soft. Fans have turned into Beyonce fans or Taylor Swift fans, where they're all just stands of a team. And if a reporter asks a tough question, they're like, how dare you ask that question? Stop being a stan.
Yeah.
Stop being a stan. None of these sports teams exist without some tax break from
100%.
from us. Arena deals, things like that. Who gets all that? So I think when sports fans became like Beyonce and Taylor Swift fans, where there was no criticism allowed, then you fall apart.
Can't fly.
You can hate your players, you can hate the team, but reporters are there to drive the truth in sports. And sports is the one area where they get to act like, don't ask him that. He just lost the game. You just lost a game. It's your job to talk about it.
Yeah. Why did you lose the game?
Yeah. You have to be able to. Yeah. So I don't respect how soft everybody's gotten about sports. I grew up in an era where you would read Norman Mailer writing about Muhammad Ali,
right?
George Plimpton writing Keith Olbermann. I have an expectation of my teams and my franchises. It's another reason why I like the Montreal Canadiens, is that the media in that city, because you have two languages, they are hard. And I think that's the job. I do not root. I root for the team.
Yeah.
I don't root against the media asking tough questions. I want answers. And I think coaches and players have gotten a little bit too sensitive. And your job is to talk.
Yeah.
So so Montreal just has a better relationship with telling the truth, and you can push them harder.
Yeah. I love that. What's next for you? What's on the agenda?
My 2026 is already busier than I wanted it to be.
Oh, no. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, dude. Here's the thing. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to work. I don't want to do anything. I just want to listen to music, ride motorcycles, ride horses. I want to have dinner with my friends. I don't love to work. I love to make things. So 2026 will be a year of more interviews, more live shows, more public engagements. The stuff that I did this past year in 2025 with the Made New group, celebrating Canadian storytelling. There'll be an evolution of that next year. I really loved that. So yeah, I'm going to be very busy in 2026. But I don't want to do traditional stuff. I don't want to do it. I've done that. My YouTube channel I get more views on my YouTube channel than I used to get on TV. Yeah. So I think we're over 30 million views on a channel that we just built on our own, just with bands in my house. So it's the Strombo Show. You can find it. And I like doing a lot of stuff independently, partnering with different groups. I like doing this thing with CH and Czech. So it's kind of fun. I just want to work with good people, and I want to make really interesting stuff. And I think this is really an exciting time. The world is burning. Yeah. And is burning differently than it used to.
So what would your advice to be to a young broadcaster out there?
It's the best time ever to get into it. It's the best time ever.
Why do you say that?
Because you no longer need anybody else's acceptance to start. Do you know how hard it was to get a job at a radio station? It was so, you did it. You know how hard it is to get it? It's so hard. It was so hard to get like a microphone. It's so hard.
Yeah. I remember sending cassette tapes to every radio station, I think, in Canada.
Yeah, it's the best time. The challenge is, most people in media complain about the networks they worked with. I did. Then you have to go do it on your own, and you realize how hard it was to do. What about the marketing? What about this? What about that? What about the no budgets? What about all this stuff? Yeah. Now it's all on you in the beginning. So life is pretty even in a way. You either front load or you back load the effort. Oh, so the effort's always, but front load or back load the challenge. The challenge is always now is front loaded in terms you have to do every little thing, but you can build your own career now in a way that we could never. I was on the first internet radio station in Canada. This is 1995, before anybody had, I wasn't on the radio station The Edge. I hadn't gone to Much Music. It was like 5 years before I went to Much Music. And I remember, this is before broadband. People were still on 14.4 modems.
It's like 95, 96.
95, 96, yeah. And 28.8s were out. The Pentium 90 computer was happening. People were using words like, this is a multimedia computer, which just meant it had a DVD player, right?
Right, yeah.
Play stuff or whatever. But so I remember, I feel like now, I've been waiting my whole career for the technology to catch up to how I want to work. And I feel like it's here now. And I love what you're able to do with technology. I think, some kids using AI to learn how to make stuff is great. Like, whatever, man, make your stuff.
Use the tools, yeah.
Use the tools. This is an incredibly interesting time to get into media. Now, it's harder in one respect, well, two. One is that it's harder to cut through because there's so much, but you shouldn't cut through if you can't cut through. I still do believe that there is some version of, well, you have to figure it out to cut through.
Absolutely.
We complain about gatekeepers. When you get rid of gatekeepers, now what? Now what do you do? Now, of course, we still have big companies throttling. If you do something that's pro-Palestine, you won't get as much. You'll get definitely throttled. So, like, there's still that kind of stuff. In the U.S., they're going to, not just about that part of the world, but there's going to be all kinds of stuff. So, criticism of the government. So, there's definitely bigger, eviler players, who are running things. But you can still cut through, and you have to figure it all out. The other challenge is, and one of the things I'm so grateful that we got to come up in traditional media was guidance. So my bosses, when I worked in radio, one in particular, was so hard on me in terms of my performance. But I used to say to him, I want to be the best to have ever done this. So I will never be upset if you criticize me. Right. And because when people criticize me, I don't take it personally. I don't get offended. I don't view the value of my life based on somebody else's opinion of mine.
You're using it as a building block.
Yeah. I said, make me the best. So, and I currently work for you. And so what is the best in your view of me? So he would just pummel me in my air checks to make me better. And he was also supportive. But I don't need support. I don't need give me kindness. No, don't give me kindness. That's just performative. Make me better. And so what you don't have now, if you're coming up as an independent podcaster or YouTube streamer, is you have nobody who's teaching you how to actually communicate. Right. So it's a little bit harder to do that. And the really great ones, the Peter McKinnons, the Maddie Hapuyas, the Casey Neistat, who's like the greatest of, I think he's the greatest YouTuber of all time. Life of Riza is great. But they figured out, because I think like Casey Neistat's talent is so enormous that he's an incredible communicator, and he learned it. It's much harder to do it in a vacuum where you're not getting that kind of guidance. So my only suggestions to young broadcasters is do what writers do. They form writers' rooms. They get together. They read each other's pages, and they critique each other. So if you're a young broadcaster, surround yourself with other people who will watch your stuff and make you better, in the way that George Lucas would play Brian De Palma an early cut of Star Wars, and Brian De Palma told him, you're making a big mistake here. Right? And Lucas was forced to say, do I agree with you or do I disagree with you? He disagreed, he doubled down. Star Wars turned out to be okay.
Pretty good.
Right. So I believe that young broadcasters don't have, and young social media people don't have the same ability to learn the way we did, because they don't have people invested in their growth the way our bosses did.
Right. If
you had a good boss. Stu Myers, Bob Ackwood Sr., Stu Myers taught me more about broadcasting than anything. And I still, when I make a YouTube video, I am very aware of Stu's teachings. And this is 30 years later.
They're like carved into me. And I think that part of the reason why I've been able to have a career that's run this long is because I was forged in a Gen X fire of you don't get. I would do a show, and I would, I'm a mumbler, so I would mumble that I'm ultra casual, as you can tell, which is a problem sometimes. And I would fumble through a break, and my boss would come into the studio and mime fumbling a football for 3 minutes. And then look at me and said, God, did I make a mistake hiring you? Right.
And walk out. And I remember thinking, better get better.
Wow.
So I didn't go, oh, you have to coddle me. Right. I'm like, no, I got to get better because I want to be great at this.
Message received, right?
Message received, yeah. And he didn't baby me, right? He tried. That was a guy called Neil Mann, who I worked with, who was a music director, was an incredibly big influence on me. Neil was an incredibly big influence because he was in the middle. He was very direct and wanted me to be better, but he was a little bit kinder. No, sorry, not kinder, because Stu was kind. But he was just he just communicated a little differently because he wasn't the boss.
Right.
And so I was just surrounded by people, Nelson Millman, like when I was a kid in broadcasting, who looked at me and went, you can be good at this if you're willing to learn. And I said, I'm willing to learn. So I had a bunch of people who had no interest to take, I had no reason to take an interest in me.
Right.
To really work me. And they were very direct. They were very hard. And I am so grateful for that. And I think it's why I've been able to last this long is because I was forged in the Gen X fire.
Yeah. But they saw something too, right?
Well, maybe.
Apart from the talent, they saw obviously the drive, the passion, the commitment.
So I think that's what it is, because I think talent's weirdly overrated.
Yeah.
I think what I have is an unbelievable sense of discipline. I don't have motivation. Right. I don't even have that much ambition. And I didn't then, because ambition to me it's so out of the reach. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm never going to be this kind of broad. I didn't even know you could be on TV.
Right.
Like, to think that you could be on TV or the radio for me that's insane. Like, I was going to be, my plan was to work at the Ford plant. That's what they wanted me to do, which, by the way, would have been a great job. And I drove a forklift at the airport. I volunteered at a radio station. I filled in. And so, but what I had was absolute discipline and drive. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the difference, is that it's only the effort. Because the effort is like that Leonard Cohen or Bruce Cockburn line, is the kicking at the darkness, and eventually it bleeds daylight. So if you grew up in a situation, in a class situation where you have no education, you have no future, you have no reason to, there's no pathway to this, you're just going to get a job, which is, I respect. How else can you get through? The system's not on your side. And I was lucky to grow up in an era where I didn't believe that the government or the police or the judges or the corporations were on our side. I still don't, mostly. I also have learned some of them are.
Sure.
Some of them are.
Yeah.
It's not all cut and dry. I get that. But that's growing. So the only thing I could do was keep kicking at the darkness. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I could control was my effort. That's all I could control. Yeah. Was my effort and my ability to bounce back and to learn and learn and learn and learn. And I still operate that way. I spend probably 2 hours a day now, minimum, reading or watching something that's educational in the space that I want to be.
Right.
I am constantly, I say 2 hours, it's more like 5. Like, I'm really into how do you learn this thing, push this thing, get better at this thing. I love that.
You have a thirst for knowledge.
Yeah, and the craft. I have so much respect. I watch these old video clips of the Carson Show, or there's an Irish guy that was, I think he was Irish, broadcasting out of the UK, called Dave Allen. Don Lane, an American guy who was broadcasting in Australia, listening to Mansbridge's podcast. I have so much respect for the craft of an excellent storyteller. But I think you have to always work at it to be the greatest. Yeah. And I'm never going to be the greatest, but I want to be. If anybody's going to give me a minute of their time to either watch this with us or listen or watch something I post on Instagram or YouTube, which is where most of the stuff I do goes, if Tanya, who I work with, if they're going to give us a second of their time, I better take it seriously and really appreciate that. And as a result, I will work very hard to get the point across, to hit the right notes, because this is not about my experience. My social media life and my career is not about my experience. It's about that empty space between you and I, and how do we fill that in? How do we fill that in so that you go to bed, if you're going to watch anything I do, maybe knowing a little more than you did when you woke up, feeling a little better than you did when you woke up, maybe being a little lovelier than you were when you woke up, or feeling like maybe you're not doing enough to make the world a better place, not save the world, but maybe showing you, here's a way you can make an impact. Like, that's the job. The job is not, look at me in my life. I'm just sitting at home watching Vera on Breadbox, eating air pop popcorn with vegan butter. Like, you don't want me playing piano by myself. You know? This is about us. This is about us. And I grew up in an era where broadcasters, really, a lot of the great ones were about us. And so I believe, you ever listen to those old Peter Zosky Man Alive clips? Like, that's about us, man. Yeah. That's about us. And I'm a big believer in us. And they've worked really hard, whoever they is, to make it feel like you and me and you and her and them. Yeah, that's how they want us to be. I'm not buying into that red pill, blue pill version of YouTube influencers that are just poisoning our minds when they've all actually taken the black pill. And I don't believe that that's our job if we have a microphone or a camera. And now that everybody has a phone camera, you can all be part of that, right?
Exactly.
So I really believe in the us, which I know is a grandiose way to say, hey, watch a New Year's Eve show where we're playing cool bands, but it's about the us.
Yes, totally.
It's about the us.
Listen, I'm so looking forward to the countdown to 2026.
Yep.
George Stroumboulopoulos.
Where in Malton did you live?
I was, the street I grew up on was Renwood Crescent.
Yeah. I lived on Sills. So my backyard was Airport Road.
Yeah, very close to that.
Very close to that. Yeah. So you're close to the Malton Public School.
Very much so.
Yeah. No, I know it, yeah.
It was, great little town. Had a lot of great memories.
Still the best.
Amazing friends. Still remember many of them, whether it was kindergarten or grade 3 or grade 5, whatever the case was.
One day off camera, I'll tell you a story about how I almost got arrested in a foreign land in a really tense time politically, war-wise. And it was somebody from Malton who saved me, who I never knew.
Wow.
But that's not for camera.
We'll save that for another edition of Newsmakers. Listen, George, really appreciate your time.
What a pleasure, bro.
Thank you so much. Looking forward, as I said, to the countdown 2026. 10 p.m. New Year's Eve. It's going to be a blast.
Dude, when Big Wreck plays that song, that song, I really like that too. When they do that, I'm gonna have all the feels.
Nice.
I'm gonna have all the feels.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks again for the time.
Bud.
That's George Stroumboulopoulos, and that is the Newsmakers Podcast. A huge thank you to the all-star cast behind the scenes. If you like today's episode, click the thumbs up, hit subscribe, leave a comment as well. You can catch the Newsmakers Podcast on chch.com/podcasts and wherever you get your favorite podcasts.